meters, there are 13 meters, but with this amount of Marines and more importantly the Thor behind, the thing is if the Marines run, the Thor can still shoot, and basically it negates the advantage of Mutas, because the Mutas will form in a line in front here, and the Thor is going to be able to shell away with them. And even with Banelings with hooks, and oh, these Banelings are out of position. These Banelings are gonna, oh man, like wow. Actually, if he could have clicked, no, he would have died because they were the tank support. But RedArchon does have the superior army, and look at that placement. He is going to try to deny this base, and looking at the armies tab, 4,300 versus 3,000, and a lot of that army is in Mutas. There are 18 Mutas, but there is a lot. Just look at that placement. Look, the Marines up here, Marines down here. So if the Banelings come into, look at that, if the Banelings go for these Marines, these tanks are going to kill all the Banelings, the rest of the Marines will stay alive. And here comes the Banelings, they are running back to the tanks, and all the Banelings does go down, but these tanks are completely shelling away. Glade is trying to save his Banelings. Here comes the real threat, here comes the real Marines. There are still Banelings left over. Very, very nice. And yeah, Glade is going to take this game, but no, the Marines are alive, and wow, I am running out of breath here. But these Marines are alive, and there's not a lot these Mutas can do because they're being killed by these medvacs. Actually, he needs to take out these tanks, and that's what he does. He's going to sacrifice his third base to take out this army, but Glade is in a big spot of trouble right now. We do have a huge reinforcement from RedArchon, so he had all his units rallied outside his base, and right now he is moving out. The tanks have come back in, and the third base come down. It is now once again 2 base Terran against 2 base Zerg, and the Zerg is going to be mined out very, very soon. And more importantly, it's not so much about the base, not so much about the bases, it's about the unit composition. He slow pushes with tanks, and is he even making any more Thors? And ooh, he's not making any more Thors, so this is a big mistake from RedArchon. He really does need the Thors, but these tanks are going down. There are no more Banelings. The Banelings are coming in, and the Banelings, remember, this is patch 1.0, so one hit from these siege tanks, if they hit in the middle, they're gonna kill like 8 Banelings, because they're one tank does 50 damage, and Banelings are light units, so they're not gonna get that advantage. So this is why the tanks were nerfed. They are gonna deny the gas. It is gonna be a 3 gas Zerg against a 4 gas Terran, and this is really bad. Can these tanks even reach the hatchery? The tanks can reach the hatchery. Oh, this, I cannot stress how much damage this is doing right now, because the Banelings cannot kill the Marines, and the Marines are guarding the tanks, and Glade is in so much trouble. This is such a huge army right here, and the Mutas are trying to do harass. He is very wisely picking off reinforcement units, but again, it's still 1 base Terran against 1 base Zerg. Glade very wisely has even the field, but once these Marines do pull back without Baneling support, these Marines are going to be able to shoo away these Mutas very easily, and they already, more importantly, have 2 attack. Now, the thing is, Terrans really underestimate. Yeah, wow, Glade. Yeah, that's not going to do anything, and Glade does GG. I have to state a point that really makes a huge difference. People always ask, when I go Ultralist, or maybe early attack, when I go in Zerglings against Marines, a very heavy ball, do I get attack or do I get armor? The thing is a Marine does 6 damage base, and an Ultra starts with only 1 armor. Once you get chitinous plating, he has 3 armor. Those Marines go from 6 damage, minus 3 from the armor, to 3 damage. So a Marine does like garbage damage. And against a Muta, like Mutas, like what should you be getting as upgrades? You should be getting armor, because if you're fighting only basically Marines, let's say this Muta had like 2 armor, so these Marines would do only 4 damage. But instead, the Mutas have no armor, and these Marines have 2 attack. They do 8 damage. They do, every single Marine you have here is basically a second Marine, and they stim. They shoot 8 damage every 0.5 seconds. It's disgusting. So if you were playing Terran, what upgrade should I get? If you're going MM, get attack. If you're playing Zerg and you're fighting MM, what upgrade should I get? Get armor. But I have to say, the composition of the army was a little bit better, but the key thing was tanks here, small MM here, small MM, and most importantly the Thor. Glade had to kill the Thor. but he couldn't kill the tanks, and the tanks were being guarded by, I think, like 12 Marines and a couple Marauders with medvacs, and basically he killed off Glade's army here. Once RedArchon had momentum, he basically denied this base, and it was GG. Like, fantastic play. And this is not really a Terran map, but wow, what kind of precision by RedArchon. And the thing was, Glade lost the game when he couldn't do harass. This one missile turret and this extra missile turret basically won the game for RedArchon, because Glade couldn't do harass. And he spent all that extra money, all that early money on mutas. And mutas in a big battle are like Reapers. They are strong against certain units, but they're not great against anything else. Like, a lot of Marines, a few Thors, and mutas are not going to do very much. You're going to need the meat and bone of the Zerg army. You're going to need roaches, a lot of roaches, and a splash of Hydras behind the roaches. But yeah, what a game. This is going to go into the ace match. It's going to be RedArchon versus Ice, and can't wait to cast that game. And thank you guys for listening to my cast. Remember to subscribe on YouTube. And yeah, once again, this is HD Phoenix, signing out.